is Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK. Richard Tice, they're trying to bribe your voters to vote Labour, aren't they?
Well, it's extraordinary. I mean, the Chancellor is splurging just hundreds of billions of debt. That's what it is, government borrowing, much of which I regret to say will be wasted. Talk about spending tens of billions on a useless carbon capture technology that'll make no difference to anybody. So this spending review, they are basically where they're terrified of reform, which is, for example, in Wales and in the industrial heartlands of the Midlands and the North. Yep, they're going to try and bribe the voters. But the truth is the voters are not stupid. The voters are seeing their bills going up. And they're looking at reform, actually, Chris, and saying, well, we're now running 10 councils. And as I told the Chancellor in the chamber, we're already identifying huge savings. That's what we should be doing.
But shouldn't you welcome it? We know these areas need investment. We know from Joe White, the leader of the Red Wall Caucus, they need the money. Why begrudge them it?
I welcome sensible investment, of course. My concern is they're going to splurge it on the wrong things.
Okay.
You don't need to spend 20 billion quid on a useless technology called carbon capture. What I was delighted about, though, was she recognised in the chamber that actually the steel industry is really important. Of course, Reform have been calling for that. And I did just remind her in the chamber that, of course, it was thanks to Reform that they decided to save British steel.
What did you say? You said a remark and everyone laughed at it.
Yeah, she was talking about steel and I said it was thanks to us, and the whole place fell about laughing because they knew it was true, they just didn't want to admit it.
Are you worried that Labour will have dealt with the issue of asylum hotels by the next election? They say, let me finish, they said no one in asylum hotels by the next election. They're taking away a weapon with which you would attack Labour for.
Well, in credit where credit's due, if they achieve that, the whole country would be delighted. I don't think there's a cat and hell's chance of them achieving that. There are tens of thousands of people in these hotels clogging up housing that should be occupied by British citizens, and just this year alone, approaching 50,000 illegals will cross the channel. And she also announced, I think, hundreds of millions more going into the sort of the border security command. That's actually code for hundreds of millions more going to the French, who are just banking it and giving their own gendarmerie photography lessons. They're not actually stopping any boats.
Yeah. And Paul Johnson said that there's no need for tax increases this autumn. He said to us moments ago on GB News, as long as the growth forecasts stay where they are. So if the growth happens as forecast in the budget, we're okay, aren't we?
Well, I wonder if Paul Johnson was forecasting that 250,000 jobs will be destroyed since the budget. I think there's no chance of those forecasts being met. I think government spending is out of control. The cost of government borrowing is out of control. And I think good luck to him in that forecast.
And just finally, how would you have done things differently today?
What I would say is we've got to spend wisely and smartly. Stop splurging it. There's no performance or measurement requirements on the public sector when they're giving huge pay increases. What we should be doing is spending on infrastructure smartly and wisely. That's what we do at Reform, because we've got a business track record. We know how to do things. And you've got to create growth by deregulating, making risk-taking pay, so that entrepreneurs actually want to take risk, want to work hard, as opposed to what they're doing at the moment, which is fleeing the country.
And just finally also, you haven't got a shadow chancellor yet, have you? Who is your shadow chancellor?
Well, the thing is, we've got lots of expertise. Ultimately, that's a decision for the boss, Nigel Farage. But look, my background is business.
So why aren't you the shadow chancellor? Why won't he give you the job?
At the end of the day, we're all good at what we do. Nigel's very good with money. I'm good with money. But there's only 5 of us, so we actually have to cover lots of bases ourselves. But of course, trust me, that number is heading up.